and welcome to another exciting episode of Brett talking about Superalgos. This is how it's going to go. Um, Welcome, everybody. If you didn't see the stream earlier, this is stream number 2 of the day. Don't have any specific questions that I'm going to be going over, but I did earlier this week decide to start working on a Twitter indicator bot where the idea is to pull in tweets from Twitter and then act upon them. So I thought I would walk through some of the work that I've already done and then show you where I'm stuck, because this is the first time I've been doing this. And maybe I can help somebody else along the way learn how to make their own custom indicator as well. So first things first, I was going to draw up a quick diagram showing the idea and my understanding of how these indicators work in Superalgos, and then we can go from there. I guess also tonight I am drinking a Lovely Day by Little Log Cabin. It is delicious. One of my favorites. It's an IPA. I mean, not in terms of favorites that I've had before. This is my first time having it. But it's a comfy and creamy DDH double dry hopped Galaxy, Cascade, and Motueka double IPA, brewed with honey, lactose, and vanilla by your good friends at Little Log Cabin. I can't remember if I had this one on the stream before. I think last time I had a different but very similar IPA from Little Log Cabin. But anyway, this one's just as good. So cheers. I am a little tired of drinking IPAs, but when they taste as good as this, it's not too bad. All right, so let's start off with a quick diagram showing the idea of what data I'm looking to get off of Twitter and just kind of a general idea of what I think I may be able to do with it in Superalgos. So I think I should be able to filter tweets. You know, this is pretty small for the... Let's see if I can zoom in a little for the stream here. So, I want to filter tweets, and then I want to do something sort of like, well, I guess there's a couple of different things you could do. One idea that I saw somebody post a while ago was that they looked for Elon Musk to tweet about Dogecoin or Bitcoin or something. They bought immediately, and then they sold exactly 24 hours later. So your filtering tweets could look for a specific hashtag. It could look for a user to say something specific. And as soon as that hits, you take action. But in terms of an indicator and like graphing that along with other indicators, you might want to do something like count. So like count the number of tweets that mention BTC or Bitcoin or Dogecoin or whatever over the course of a day or over an hour, and then plot that on a graph and maybe make an oscillator out of it. Another idea would be following a specific user One that I have in mind is, let's just go to twitter.com real quick and see what I can find. I think there's one Bitcoin, was it Fear and Greed Index. So this tweets out every hour or so what this Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index is. And it goes from 0 to 100. And the level means something different each time. I believe when it's greed, you want to sell. And when it's fear, you want to buy. But don't quote me on that just yet. So if you were going to do something like that, you would look at this tweet, you would try and pull out the 77 and then graph that as an indicator, as a oscillator. So you may do, let's say, further processing on the number of tweets that you get. Plot the outcome, and then use the data in a strategy. So that's just kind of the flow of data that I'm thinking of. And then in terms of the, I guess just the, what an indicator does itself. We in this type of situation, I think we would have a sensor bot, which would pull down the raw data, and then there would be a, let's open up, just so I don't mess up the terms here. All right, new follower, Argonoff. Hello out there. That's what I was gonna say. What were we gonna say? Let's open this up and look at the bot itself. So we have a sensor bot and we have an indicator bot. The sensor bot, to my understanding, pulls down raw data. So if you were to look at, let's see, down here, our candles is the most basic, or the one that pretty much everybody's going to be using. It has an exchange raw data sensor bot instance, and then it transforms the data using an indicator bot instance. So transform data with, oh yeah, Elon Musk tweets and then 24-hour period to sell. Oh, too long. Okay. I mean, I'd have to look it up again. I think it was a Reddit post, and I think the guy said, I think this was at the height of, I guess, the first bull rush earlier this year, and I think he said he came out with a pretty positive ROI. But yeah, I don't know. Trial and error. Maybe you can come up with something better. So then transform the data with the indicator bot. And then I guess from there you would either plot the data. No, I don't like how that turned out. Or use data in trading strategy. And it wouldn't necessarily be an either or, because you probably would do both. No. My drawing is not turning out the way that I want it to. Oh, come on. That's better. All right. So that's kind of my general understanding of how I want the Twitter indicator bot to work. Indicator bots work. And then I guess we could get even further into what each part of the sensor bot and the indicator bot does. But I'll probably walk through that when I get to the actual code. I guess to kind of show you where I am, and I'll close off this because I'm a little bit lost in terms of what to do with the plotters. But the sensor bot, I believe well, actually, I don't have it working, but I believe I understand how it should work, and it needs a little bit of work to get some bugs figured out. But it essentially connects to Twitter using Twitter API v2. And their documentation is actually pretty good. So let's go to the, no, that's not what I wanted. Let's go to the support docs. Yeah, Twitter API. No, that's not what I wanted. Docs. Twitter API, tweets in the v2 area. And we want to filtered stream. So I think this is what I want to go for. Essentially what we do is we create a rule, like a tweet has both the keyword cat and images attached to it. You create a name for it, or a tag, and then you make an API call to push it up and create the rule in Twitter. And also notice that we're using a bearer token here, so we're acting like an application, which we are. Superalgos is an application. And then we want to pull down the tweets, or I guess this is checking to see what rules we have. Then we want to connect to the stream and get our tweets that match our rule. And you can add in extra fields too. Otherwise, the default is you get the ID of the tweet and the text of the tweet. And then they added in with this API call, getting the author ID and then the created at user fields. Excuse me. And then your response body looks similar to this, where you get a list of, interesting. You get a list of tweets, and then I'm not sure what this includes users is at the end. So anyway, going to the actual code itself, what I've done so far is I found the TS bot modules under the data mining project. Essentially copied the webhook, check webhooks JS, and I called it get tweets. We need our bearer token, and I'm thinking the configuration on the sensor bot itself is going to include the rules. And then when we initialize the object, I'm thinking that we will not just pull down the config and set up our variables, but also add any rules that we had in the configuration using the Twitter client, just as they did at the first step in the docs. And then the part that I'm a little bit fuzzy on and I still need to figure out, when we start, obviously running the actual indicator should connect up to Twitter, connect to the filtered stream, pull down the data, and then write that data out to our file system, to the data.json, just like any other indicator is, like the candles and exchange raw data. And there are callbacks all over the place. This is a little bit older part of the code base. And then the save messages function, which is, I believe, what actually writes out the data. But of course, when I ran it, I got all kinds of errors about not being able to create files. And I think that there's some configuration that I missed on some of the nodes. So yeah, I have a lot to work through. For some of the other indicators though, once you get to the actual indicator bot, processing the data and creating the multi-time frame daily and multi-time frame market, all the different time spans. Most of that code in the newer data mines appears to be all stored right in JSON as a part of these modules. So when you're looking at the code base, there's only a couple of indicators that have bot modules, like the Bollinger Bands and the candle volumes. Everything else is pure JSON. Let's just pull out one of these real quick. And then the code itself is embedded inside of this JSON object. And so it's really, and it's even tough to kind of find. So it's really designed from this point on with newer indicators that if you want to make any changes, you're doing it right from the UI here. And hopefully, I know somebody's working on making these editors a little bit better. But what I would do is probably just copy and paste this out into VS Code, make my changes, copy and paste it back in. So they initialize all the different EMA timeframes with zeros, and then run through setting different values and calculating the EMA. So that's actually the bulk of what this does. and then it just assigns it to different time frames. And I believe these data sets are what write out the files to the file system and tell it where and how. But as you can tell, I'm still pretty new at this, and I'm still trying to figure out the code to understand what I need to do. So let's give it a try. So my error that I was getting before was saying that, first of all, this time key or whatever seems to be very malfunctioned. Whatever. So that could be part of the problem. Other thing I notice is I probably have this path mixed up a little bit. And again, it's trying to write out a full path with pipes and a whole bunch of different parts that I probably do not want. So let's look and see if we can figure out where this is. Doesn't look like it's on there. Doesn't look like it's necessarily coming from there. Oh, I guess the other part of the code that I didn't show is I have a twitter.json in the plugins data mines. And I believe I copied this from, it might have been Sparta or the Bollinger Bands to start. And then, oh well, here's where all this is messed up. Twitter process definition. All right, let's find that in here. Thought I edited this. I did not. All right, let's look at our candles. So here's our process definition. They just call it historic OHLCVs. That should have saved with a code name. Let me close out of that. Because I thought that I code name exchange raw data. Another thing that you will need to do is come over to the plugins, find your brand new plugin, and turn on enable saving with workspace. So then when you actually save the workspace, hitting Control Shift S, it will save your plugin as well. Hopefully. And then so this I don't know, what do I want to call it? Tweets? Excuse me. Let me install the webhook in this workspace while I'm working on it. So we will add missing data mines. And I'll delete out the ones that I don't want. I do want the webhooks. And we will delete all the others. All right. Oh. And I'll move this over to where everything else is. All right, let's see. We have a question from Slow Crypto 77. How do I implement different time frames in one indicator? In my case, I need 15 1 hour, 4 hour, 1 day, 4 day, 1 week, and 1 month of the Bollinger Bands. Let's see. Honestly, I have no idea, but I will try and figure that out. That might actually be a better way to spend my time than walking you all through trying to get this Twitter bot working. So let me refresh here, get the webhook installed. Let's see. How do we get different time frames to know that? I wonder if that's even possible. And the reason why I'm wondering if that's even possible is when you go into the charting space and you're looking at this bar at the bottom here, we have 1 minute, 2 minute, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, and so on and so on. So your 15-minute cover, 1 hour, 4 hour, and 1 day are covered by defaults. So then the 1 week and 1 month Bollinger Bands. That is a really good question. I don't know if I'm going to be able to figure that out. And what I'm basing that off is that the chart itself stops at 24 hours. So I have a feeling that there is something hard-coded to stop at 24 hours. But one thing we can do, because Bollinger Bands are going to be pulling in candle data, is the very first thing you would need to do is be able to produce candles that are 1 week and 1 month in size. And for that to happen, I believe that's all. I think, if I remember correctly, the multi-time frame daily are all of the, time frames of 45 minutes and below. And the time frame market deals with 1 hour and above. So we want to look at the time frame market to see if there's a way to configure. Let's see, it's free. Let's get this out of the way. So we want to see if there's a way to add in 1 week or 1 month. Those aren't configurable. Those are not configurable. And those are status dependencies. Let's see, what did I do? I didn't want to detach that. Oh, there's too much going on in this small area. Come on. I can't get my mouse in here. Here. All right, so our procedure loop. That isn't what we want. Mm-hmm. Valid timeframes. So I wonder if you may be able to add into this list any custom dates, times that you need, and probably frame it in number of hours. Let's see. And the time frame daily. $45, $40, $30, $20, $15. I would be hesitant to say that you could only do that, though. I feel like there would be other parts of the code base that would be relying on matching that exact time frame. So if we look at the code for the candles and volumes. So where is build candles? So this looks good in terms of, I don't see anything hard-coded right now saying that 24 hours is the maximum. Current date string. And then we go into this timeframes loop. Input file period, 24 hours. Hmm. And here we go again. What is it? Output period. I don't know. For now, I have a feeling 24 hours might be the maximum. And I feel like there's probably some more code changes that need to happen in order to make that larger. It's not just a matter of setting a configuration. So I guess one thing we could do to try this out real quick would be like, let's add excuse me, 48 hours on here. Let's just see if it complains. I have a feeling it may. So we save. And then let's run our candle bot. See what happens here. I'm going to leave this open to see if we hit any errors. You can see we're grabbing new candles. Ooh, we are configuring. All right, well, that completed. Oh, and I typed in 48 hours wrong. Oh. So that probably wasn't it. So if I browse, let me bring this over here. Superalgos, projects, no, platform, my data, data mining, candles, yeah, and we still only have the 24 hour. We stop this for a second. I definitely typed that in wrong. And I can't update settings there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's trivial to just add dates above or time frames above 24 hours, or I guess any custom time frame. Maybe it is, and I just don't understand it yet. Yeah, it's still the 24 hours. I don't know. I have a feeling that these time frames may be hard coded in here somewhere. So a quick search. Here we list the valid time frames. Platform UI globals. Okay. What are these valid time frames for? I have never looked at this file before. Well, here's our market time frame array. So if you want to put in a custom time frame, it looks like you need to add it in here and then make a PR. Same thing with the dailies. And then setting up your milliseconds. Where is this even used? All right, new follower. Hello, me versus world. I'm assuming that's how that's pronounced. Welcome. So yes, to answer the question from Slow Crypto, it looks like it is not trivial to put in your new custom timeframes. It looks like there is a lot of code setting up constants and setting up the timeframes that are available. And so if you want more timeframes, like 4 days, 1 week, 1 month, you'll have to add that in several places. Market files. That's just a reference, I believe. Chart scanner JSON. These are all data mines that are using, setting up the valid timeframes. And then workspaces with the valid timeframes. And these are more workspaces. Here, timeframe scale. This looks like, charting space, scales, timeframe scale. So you'll also have to tell the charting space that it can go above 24 hours, or it can go to whatever your custom time frame is. But it's using these constants also, which here, market timeframes, array, dailies. Where's the set? So yeah, I think that's the answer. As far as I can see, the timeframes that are available are more or less hard-coded. And so if you want to add new timeframes, you'll need to define it in the code everywhere that the other timeframes are defined. All right. plove, additional timeframe variables as params for the indicator you are building. This is actually not difficult at all to accomplish. Okay, good. You will just need to make note of what period lengths you are using and what time frame you are calling from your system strategy layer. Okay, that's good to know. Maybe you won't be able to plot it. That's just my guess. That does make actual perfect sense now that I'm thinking about it. That obviously you are writing the code for what your indicator bots are doing, and so you can tell it to do whatever you want. If you wanted to create calculated products or whatever it's called with a data mine to save on the disk. Okay, that's interesting. Good to know. But yeah, that does make sense. That if you can write the code, you can tell it to do what you want. So thanks for hopping in there, plove. Maybe in another video, another broadcast, I'll understand that more and I'll be able to demonstrate it. But for right now, I do not. And unfortunately, we only have a couple of minutes left. I don't think I'm going to get too much more done on this Twitter bot. So I guess I could show you where I am. I think I already did a little bit. What I was trying to work on and where I kind of fell flat, I believe, was trying to get it to actually write out the data files. It looks like from the log messages I was getting that this report key I do not have configured properly. The check webhook sets up this report key is something very strange to me. So it sets up this concatenation, which it's all strings, and so it doesn't need to concatenate. But it looks like they probably took that from the historic OHLCVs, as I did, and took out these variables, gave them constant string names, and left the concatenate markers. So I could easily just do the same thing. Let's name our report key Twitter. I'm going to get rid of some of these concatenations because they do not need to be there. I don't know. Twitter, get tweets. I don't know why it's Twitter. Let's call it that. Let's see if we run it. What happened there? I don't remember if I put my... Well, it crashed. Cannot read property name. That's cool. But our Twitter tweets... Where did that come from? Did I call it Twitter get tweets? Oh. What did I call this? Twitter tweets. Oh, so there. Twitter tweets. See if we call that Twitter censor bot. And then my status dependency. What was that if error? Let's save that. Let's run it again just to see what our output is. And it errored, of course. Twitter censor bot, get tweets. Cannot read properties of undefined, reading property name. Single market indicator bot. Status dependency without reference to parent. What does this do? Aha, there is a trail. Oh, it goes right to the status report. Okay. So that's what I was missing. Let's try that again. Cannot read properties. Reading initialize. And I don't have any red things up here. Output datasets. Do I need to output dataset? Let's see, plove. To calculate the 10 period SMA for 1 day, then to get the 10 period SMA for 2 day, put on the 1 day time frame chart, it's just 20 periods, right? Makes sense. In other words, 1 day 10 period SMA is the 2 day 5 period, right? And the 2 day 10 period SMA is the 1 day 20 period. That makes sense. Alrighty. Let's see. I don't think I have anything else to do here. I think I need to call it quits and head to bed. So, this I will call part 1 of creating a custom sensor bot and indicator bot or data mine altogether. Hopefully over the next couple of weeks, I will understand this code base a little bit better, understand what I need to do to get this to actually function, and hopefully you will all journey through this with me and learn a little bit along the way, because I'm sure I will learn a lot myself. I'll get this video up on YouTube tomorrow. Like and subscribe. Thank you all for hanging out, and Slow Crypto for your awesome question, and P-Love for throwing in a bunch of answers that make a lot of sense. Follow me on Twitter. I'm Superalgos. I have a trading bot running, putting out some information about the trades I'm making. Feel free to follow that bot. And I guess it will give you a little bit of an idea of what the future holds for Superalgos when the peer-to-peer system is fully up and running, when you can follow people and take action based on their actions right from within Superalgos. And actually, if I get this Twitter bot up and running, you could do the same thing straight from Twitter. But until then, check out the Superalgos code. If you haven't, pull it down, run it, play around with it, do the tutorials because they are excellent. I know I went through them a couple of times, but I was a beginner with trading and I had no idea what a lot of the terms meant, but they are very informative. So take your time, redo them, and happy trading. See you in Telegram, see you on Discord, See you in Reddit. See you in Twitter. Good night, everybody, and catch you on the flippy floppy.